Hi guys! So today I'm going to be showing you how to decorate a cake. So I have two cake layers that I've already baked and they are cool to the touch. The first step is going to be to level the cakes so that they are flat and that when we stack them they are stable and that they're flat. So I have a cake leveler right here, or you could use a knife. First we're going to set it to the right height of the cake so that we're just cutting off the little hump on the top. And now I'm going to use a sawing motion to just cut the top of the cake away. And now we're going to do the exact same thing to this cake. Okay, so now that I have my two cake layers that are flat, I'm going to take this out. This is a cake turner and I've got a cake board on top, so it'll make the cake easy to transport once we're done making it. So I've got my first layer on top of the cake board and on top of the cake turner. And I've got a piping bag that's already filled with chocolate frosting that I made. And so what we're going to do first is just frost the layer. And when I'm holding the piping bag, I'm holding it in my dominant hand, and then I'm using my other hand as a guide. So, and I don't really need the guide hand, but as a beginner, it would be helpful to just have your hand here to guide it. So I'm just going to start in the middle, squeezing from the top, and go around in a circle until I have come to the edge of the cake. And so once I've done that, I'm going to take an offset spatula. It's just at an angle, and then I'm just going to use that to give it a little spread, just to make sure that it is perfectly flat, because we want our cake to be as level as possible. Just holding it like this and just spreading around, trying not to get too much on to the spatula. We're just going to scrape the excess on there into a little bowl. So now I have my layer of cake. It's got its chocolate frosting on it, and then I'm going to take my second layer of cake, and this time I'm going to flip it upside down when I put it on top, because the cake has baked and it has sharp edges on the bottom, and we want that to be on the top of our cake. So now the next step is going to be a crumb coat. So that is just a thin layer of frosting on the cake that is going to lock in all the crumbs so we don't see that on our final coat. So I'm going to do the same, holding the bag in the same way, putting pressure on the top and then guiding it, but this time I'm going to spin the turntable as I frost it as I get to the top. And you don't need to put very much, because this is just like a little base layer to lock in those crumbs, and then I just put a little on the top. So now you could either at this point use an offset spatula or a straight spatula. I personally prefer a straight spatula, but it's whatever you prefer. I'm going to hold it vertically like this, and then I'm just going to go in a back and forth motion, and I'm going to spread that frosting on my cake. You just want to be spinning the cake stand, you want to be spinning it, and you want to just keep on spreading it until you've got it covered. And you don't need to worry about it looking perfect, because this layer no one is going to see, so you don't need to spend a lot of time on this step. You just want to make sure the cake is covered, and so that when we put it in the fridge later on, that the crumbs are all locked in. And if I have a little excess on my spatula and I don't want it, just scrape it into a bowl. And then once the sides are pretty covered, you feel satisfied, then I will take an offset spatula to frost the top, just because since it's at an angle, it's easier to frost than the straight spatula. And I'm going to do the same motion, just trying to get the top of the cake covered with the frosting, because we want to lock in all of those crumbs. And then if there's a little lip at the top, just take your offset spatula and then hold it and pull the frosting inward, just so that there's nothing up top. So now that my cake is covered in a nice layer of frosting, we're just gonna take it and we're gonna pop it in the fridge or freezer for about 20 minutes. You want the cake to be cool to the touch and hard afterwards. See you in 20 minutes. All right, so now our cake is been chilling for long enough. We're gonna do the same thing that we did for the crumb coat, but this time we're gonna do a much more generous layer of frosting. We're gonna do the same piping motion, holding the bag at the top. I like to start at the bottom, spin the turntable, and then we're gonna make our way up to the top. A little on the top. And we're gonna do the same motion as before, a back and forth motion on the cake, spreading it around. And I just keep doing that for as long as it takes for there to be a nice, smooth layer of frosting on the cake. Unlike the crumb coat, we want to spend a lot more time spreading the frosting on this one, just because this is gonna be the layer that everyone is gonna see. So you want to make sure that it is perfect. It's best to do as long of a fluid motion that you can without picking up your spatula, because it creates these little lines. It's okay at the beginning, but when you want to start getting it nice and smooth, you want to just keep moving your arm on the cake turner as long as your arm can extend. All right, I'm starting to get content with my cake. So the next step is gonna be, I have this little dollop of frosting on the top of my cake, and I'm just gonna spread that around on the top in the same way that we did the layers and that we did the top of the cake during the crumb coat. But don't go all the way to the edge, because an important part is there's a little lip of frosting at the edge that we're gonna drag in, and that's gonna help us get sharp edges. All right, so now I am content with the smoothness in the middle of the cake, but now I'm gonna drag in the lips with my offset spatula. Make sure that your offset spatula doesn't have any frosting on it when you do this, because that'll allow for the sharpest edges. So I'm just gonna take it, holding it, and then dragging it in, and then a scrape. And I'm gonna do that same thing for every little spot where there is a lip. All right, so now that I've dragged in all of the lip, I'm just gonna give it another quick little smooth on the top. So there are many ways to decorate a cake, but I'm just gonna show you guys a simple way and an easy way to do it that is very fun and will impress whoever you're making the cake for. So I have another piping bag here. It has a star tip at the end. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some little swirls that are gonna go all the way around on the top. So we're gonna start at the edge, but we're not gonna get too close to the edge because we don't want our little dollop to fall off. So we're gonna put pressure, and so then it starts to come out, and then we're gonna go in a little rotating motion, and then pull it up. So that is what it should look like. And so then I'm just gonna keep on doing that exact same thing all the way around. So now I have some sprinkles here. They're called Unicorn Swag. And so I am just going to take my sprinkles, and I find that the easiest way to put my sprinkles on my cake is to use a little teaspoon. And I'm just gonna use that to have more control over the spread of my sprinkles. I'm gonna put some on top of my little swirls and then a little pool of sprinkles in between. So I'm just gonna sprinkle them on top, not too much, but just enough. Just shaking my hand, letting my little teaspoon do the work. And then what I like to do is make like a little pool of sprinkles in between my little swirls. So then I'll just take some and we'll spread it around. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed my video and that now you know how to make a cake. Bye!